Hey,
Mm. Good morning, sis.
good morning.
Good
Yeah,
morning. It is morning. Yes,
it is more. You're not
yes. And
lying.
our beautiful family, good morning. Yeah.
Lovely to be with you all, as always. This morning, we're going to be covering lesson number 138. Oops, before we go, sis,
Yes.
isn't there something you want to tell them about a blog that you mentioned in support of lessons 136 and 137, which had to do with physical healing?
Thank you.
Hmm.
Yes, here's a forgiveness opportunity that I'm giving to you as a gift. Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Hope you've got lots of gratitude for it. Um, I promised myself that I would include a really highly valuable blog post, an audio recording of it, for the last two lessons that we just did, which is 136, all sickness is a defense against the truth, and 137,
Hmm.
when I'm healed, I'm not healed alone. And that blog is going to now be featured in the description box on this lesson, which is 138.
Yes.
Right? So if you want to read that, listen to that blog, it's right there. It's going to
What
be in the description box or show more box
What
below.
is the name of that blog that they can look for it again?
Oh, thank God you remembered that. The name of the blog is All Sickness is Blocked Communication.
Wow.
All sickness is blocked communication. And it will help to unpack, especially that last lesson and the lesson before. When I'm healed, I'm not healed alone.
Yes,
It's pretty profound.
it
Yeah,
is. So
yeah,
helpful. Thank you.
yeah.
Thanks, Chris. Okay, so there we go.
Thank you for remembering, sis.
Sure. Yeah, I was gonna almost leapt off. uh, yeah, you guys, please take advantage of the blogs. Again, it's such rich content directly from Jesus through our sister Nouk in a beautiful way, and it covers everything, and it's free, and there's a search engine or search tool that you can use. So have at it. It's all free on the nooksanchez.com website.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
lesson 138. Heaven. Heaven is the decision I must make.
Mhm.
In this world, heaven is a choice because here we believe there are alternatives to choose between. We think that all things have an opposite, and what we want, we choose. If heaven exists, there must be hell as well. For contradiction is the way we make what we perceive and what we think is real. Creation knows no opposite, but here is opposition part of being, quote, real.
Here, meaning here in
In this,
this ego dream,
that's right.
right? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm. It is this strange perception of the truth that makes the choice of heaven seem to be the same as the relinquishment of hell. It is not really thus. Yet, what is true in God's creation cannot enter here unless it is reflected in some form the world can understand. Truth cannot come where it could only be perceived with fear, for this would be the error truth can be brought to illusions. Opposition makes the truth unwelcome and it cannot come.
Okay. So, sis, can we just stop here and have a look at the gap diagram again for the 150th time? Right? Yeah.
Yes. Hold
Yeah.
on. I actually ended up doodling on the one that I always go to, but
Oh,
fortunately for all of us, I have this backup.
oh, thank God. Hey, that's the old one. I'm just teasing you. Forgive me.
That was naughty.
I know it was naughty. I know. I
Okay.
know. So what's in the gap, love? Let's have another look at what's in the gap. What's the best thing in the gap?
Oh, it's the mythical me.
Is
Oh,
it? Oh, well, okay, mythical me. That's the best thing in the gap. The body, right?
yeah, yeah. Spe-
Special relationships, falling in love,
oh gosh, yeah. Our
birth, birth.
past,
Sorry,
our past,
our
our
past,
accomplishments, our
birth.
failures, our sickness, anything the
Okay,
five physical senses are perceiving. So it's this mythical me's journey through space time.
okay. So here we have all the choices the ego will make, and the choices that the ego will make, the mythical me, like the pendulum we've spoken about before, it will choose between what it views as
Mhm.
positive illusions that it wants,
Right.
and negative illusions that it tries to defend itself against, which in fact unconsciously it is attracting. Whatever it resists, whatever it defends itself from
Mhm.
in the ego illusion, it attracts. Yeah. So all decisions in the illusion are made between the positive, so-called positive or good, and
Mhm.
so-called negative or bad
That's right.
illusions, right? Yeah. Okay.
Because we would never hang out and want mythical me unless the ego had us convinced that yes, while this world has disasters and sickness and lack and pain and death, it also has special love, exclusive love, and travel and accomplishments and an I know mind and the ability to create apart from God. None of that's true, but so it's got us believing that there's good and bad here in the gap. But if we recognize that once the mind falls asleep, the sleep the, the mind of the Son of God fell asleep to dream the dream, that the entire dream is predicated, the substance of the dream is guilt and fear.
Mhm,
So even when that guilt and fear tries to get us to believe that it's a positive, it
mhm,
still has guilt and fear as its basis and the motivation, and it will certainly be the result. So
mhm,
anything that happens in here, no matter how much we think we cherish it, it's really fear and guilt in disguise.
mhm,
And only what God creates, only at home in the mind of God can we experience anything real where guilt and fear, are absent. And
And
so
there's
this
no
is
opposites in there.
that's right.
There's no, and the ego cannot understand that
Mm.
because the ego thought system is predicated on the belief in opposites, birth and death, sickness and health,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
Wealth and
Poverty.
poverty, etc., etc. Can you hold the gap up one more time?
Yes.
Yeah, just the gap, because there's something he says in here, and I'm just going to find it while you're holding it. We just read then.
Mm.
Okay, truth cannot come where it could only be perceived with fear. That's what you just read. So this would be the error that truth can be brought to illusions, right?
Right.
So what we do in the gap is while we're still hypnotized by choosing between good and bad illusions, and we think that's our lot in life,
Yes.
we're also going to believe that God can come into the illusion
Yes.
and he can make our illusions better,
Right. That's
right?
I really yes.
You know what I mean? He can improve our illusions for us.
Yes. Yeah, that's what all human prayer is about until you recognize what true prayer is.
Mm,
Like in the psychotherapy pamphlet, this prayer about God, please with help me get better. Please bring me, a good job. Please bring me money. Please bring me a partner, right? It's like we're asking God to come into the illusion, which is an impossibility. So true prayer is not asking the real to enter into the unreal, but locating yourself here It's forgive that
Mm-hmm.
and locate yourself, affirm and acknowledge I and my Father are one. I'm an idea in the mind of God, and this is my natural state.
Mm-hmm.
So when the mind is healed and it knows, well, I am one with God who is abundance, I am one in God wholeness, which is health. That's answered prayer, not trying to draw God into what's never been. Okay.
To fix our illusions.
Yeah,
Make a better dream, a
that's
better
right.
illusion, right?
That's
Yeah.
right.
Okay. So so in that transfer, which we'll talk more about in the next lesson, 139, but that transfer from believing in the gap and being triggered by it, and then closing the gap,
Yes.
that really asks of us to acknowledge and be fully accountable, acknowledge that what we're doing is we're giving Holy Spirit our erroneous belief
Mm-hmm.
in the idols in the gap, good or bad,
Good or
and
bad.
we're giving him our belief. And we're sorry that we believed in any of it,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not blaming anybody else. We're not blaming the body. We're not blaming the past. We're showing up and being fully accountable to say to Holy Spirit, look, listen, I tripped myself up here. I
Mm-hmm.
fell for the temptation of the ego, and I really believed this particular trigger.
Mm-hmm.
And now I give this to you,
Mm-hmm.
Holy Spirit, for you to heal my mind.
That's right. Repurpose it.
Repurpose it, divinely repurpose. Okay, good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you. Paragraph 3. Choice is the obvious escape from what appears as opposites. Decision lets one of conflicting goals become the aim of effort and expenditure of time. Without decision, time is but a waste and effort dissipated. It is spent for nothing in return, and time goes by without results. There is no sense of gain, for nothing is accomplished, nothing learned. He's again pointing out to anytime that we're living in a gap, nothing is accomplished in truth, nothing is gained. Seek and don't find. This little figure's running like heck across an imaginary horizontal timeline into ego's law of certain and natural, inevitable death. Right? What a cruel setup.
It is. That's what's perpetuated time for millions of years.
Yeah, and this thing of choice means that the mythical me is looking at illusions in a gap, thinks it knows what it is, and then starts making choices. I want this, I don't want this. I need this, I need to protect myself from this. And then it employs its educated mind of, well, I know how to do that and I'm going to set out to do it. So see how we get caught up in this decisions between two illusory platforms.
That's it, sis. That's it. And I just saw as you were speaking too, is the educated mind, right? Is based on the past,
Yeah,
making the past real, all experiences real, and
yes,
then projecting them into an illusory future,
that's right.
which amounts to physical death.
The I know mind is total control,
Yeah.
terror of the unknown, and total control and mastery of this. And when I finally saw that, I said, "Good job, Coreen. You got A's in illusion." You know, you know a whole lot about nothing. How's that work out for you? It's like, oh my gosh. Anyway, I have total compassion for you, brainiacs out there, but it's all got to go. Let it go.
Oh, the intellect, yeah.
Oh, it's a tough
Uh-huh.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep,
But harness the Holy Spirit. It can be a good thing.
yeah. The way that I see it is something that um, my beloved miracle buddy or soul buddy,
Mm,
Thomas Vieira, used to say, is
mm,
the intellect is purely a tool, all right? It is not what we are. It's not who we are. The intellect, and the analogy he gave is that he said it's like a tool that you keep in your shed
Mm-hmm.
on your property, right?
Yes.
So when you need it, you go and you get that tool. But before you go and get that tool, you make sure that you've aligned with Holy Spirit first.
Yes.
So Holy Spirit uses that intellect, not mythical me, the ego.
I think the lesson of I rest in God was the most amazing, warm, soothing bath for my mind that I've ever experienced.
Mm.
And it felt so good to know that I will be given what to do, what to say. This just turn off this grinding and allow. I mean,
Yeah.
I still employ the intellect when helpful in his service, but not as an independent runaway, you know.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's true, sis. So that's a good one to go to, a go-to lesson
Mm-hmm.
whenever we're tempted, is lesson 109, I think it is. I rest in God, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so for nothing is accomplished and nothing learned, you need to be reminded that you think 1,000 choices are confronting you when there is really only one to make. And
In
even,
every moment, right?
yes,
He means in every moment, there's only one choice to make, right?
that's it. That's it. When there is really only one to make, and even this but seems to be a choice, a choiceless choice. Do not confuse yourself with all the doubts that myriad decisions would induce. You make but one, and when that one is made, you will perceive it was no choice at all, for truth is true and nothing else is real. There is no opposite to choose instead. There is no contradiction to the truth. God alone is. This is not happening. It's never occurred. God's answer was inconceivable. Only this is ever going on. And you're either allowing this, accepting this, or not. Life, death. Real, unreal. Eternal, temporary illusion.
I like that.
Yeah, me too. Let's get it just black and white. Okay. Choosing depends on learning, and the truth cannot be learned, but only recognized. That is
That's big.
huge.
Isn't that big?
Yeah. We have these books and the course as pointers for clarification, and yet every time we really get it, it's like a light bulb is turned on, and the mythical me, I can assure you, had nothing to do with that light that reveals the truth. It is a revelation. It's an uncovering what's always there, but mythical me is not and cannot be part of that process. It's in the surrendering, it's in the forgiveness, and then listening. In recognition, its acceptance lies, and as it is accepted, it is known. But knowledge is beyond the goals we seek to teach within the framework of this course. Ours are teaching goals to be attained through learning how to reach them, what they are, and what they offer you. Decisions are the outcome of your learning, for they rest on what you have accepted as the truth of what you are and what your needs must be. In this insanely complicated world, heaven appears to take the form of choice rather than merely being what it is. Of all the choices you have tried to make, this is the simplest, most definitive, the prototype of all the rest, the one which settles all decisions. If you could decide the rest, this one remains unsolved. But when you solve this one, the others are resolved with it. For all decisions but conceal this one, by taking different forms. Here is the final and the only choice in which is truth accepted or denied.
So,
Everything.
yeah, that's it. So if I understand this correctly, when we prioritize now moment presence or mindful presence, when we prioritize forgiveness whenever we're triggered, and when we're engaging in authentic relating with everyone, we're not compartmentalizing our relationships anymore, or our communication, right? Then, of course, all our needs are automatically met because we have chosen heaven. Heaven is a decision we must make, right?
Yeah.
And in that priority on a daily basis, all our needs are met, and all the guidance that we need is given us automatically.
Right.
We don't need to go and bust our ass, as they say, to try and attain success or attain wealth or feed our family or whatever, right?
Yeah. Well, I really love that everything that we think we're deciding on, we've given it all these definitions and we think there's a real issue to decide upon, but he's saying this is just a disguise. Like what this is the same choice coming to you wearing a different, image. Are you choosing heaven or hell? Truth or illusions? Fear or love? Like that's really like God or the ego, mythical me. Yeah. And only one is true. And when we make that one choice, like you said, you're in the flow. Everything's done for you, through you, effortlessly.
It's beautiful that it's effortless. And
Yeah.
we're learning that daily, aren't we?
Yes. Oh yeah. The miracles that you want to see in your life come from making this decision. Okay. So we begin today, considering the choice that time was made to help us make. Such is its time's holy purpose, now transformed from the intent you gave it, that it be a means for demonstrating hell is real, hope changes to despair, and life itself must in the end be overcome by death.
How crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, every time I read this, I'm like, wow, that's insane that we believe that life must be overcome by death. Oh my God. Okay, keep going.
That's the God of time right there that we've made.
Yeah.
In death alone are opposites resolved, for ending opposition is to die. He's just characterizing what it is to be mythical me identified. This is what we must believe if we believe that we are separate. And thus salvation must be seen as death, for life is seen as conflict. To resolve the conflict is to end your life as well.
And that's why we say to loved ones, oh, I'm so happy she died, or he
Rest
died.
in peace.
I'm so happy he's gone to heaven. And now he's out of conflict and suffering. Or she's out.
Yeah.
Right.
So being mythically me identified results in death, hence the tombstone. This is the belief in time. You're subscribing to this or this. And you can't be in both at the same time.
Wow.
Okay? There's no overlap.
They're mutually exclusive,
They're mutually exclusive. That's right. So if separation still holds out value, notice death and these insane ideas also hold out something for us. We can't cherry pick the gap and decide that we want some and not others. Oh, did you hear that, Coreen? Yes, got it. These mad beliefs can gain unconscious hold of great intensity and grip the mind with terror and anxiety so strong that it will not relinquish its ideas about its own protection. It must be saved from salvation, threatened to be safe, and magically armored against truth. And these decisions are made unaware to keep them safely undisturbed, apart from question and from reason and from doubt. That's why I
Mm.
love this gap diagram, because it really makes it clear about everything that we are accepting when we think, well, I'm just me, I'm a child of God. I'm in this body and I'm this story and I'm going along. And I mean, really to expose the cost of being thinking that we are living in the gap and are encased in matter,
Mm.
limited.
Mm.
Thanks, sis, for that. Heaven is chosen consciously. The choice cannot be made until alternatives are accurately seen and understood. All that is veiled in shadows must be raised to understanding, to be judged again, this time with heaven's help. And all mistakes in judgment which the mind had made before are open to correction, as the truth dismisses them as causeless. Now are they without effects. They
Mm.
cannot be concealed because their nothingness is recognized.
So this is where we really get to witness many miracles, right?
Yes.
Because he says here, now they are without effects.
Mm-hmm.
Because the cause has been corrected in our mind,
Mm-hmm.
the effects at the form level also have to come into alignment with that mind. Yeah.
That's
Healed mind.
the first time I read this, I wrote in the margin, and it bears bringing up, heaven's help is the holy relationship as well, because he's talking about, we have to choose heaven, and you're not going to choose what you don't know, and you're not going to choose what you don't trust. And even if you think that mythical me is a wreck, it's still what you know. And so oftentimes when we're being abused or in terror, we think, I got to bail. But when we don't know what lays ahead of us, we stick to the wreck.
Yeah, familiarity, right?
That's right.
Even if it's painful.
That's why, yeah, women in abusive relationships, better that than to stretch out and maybe not make it on their own, right? So this is that threat that's out there by the ego saying, no, 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 just stay put. You know how this works. But he's telling us, you've got to choose it consciously. And the choice, not even that you won't make it, but you can't make it until the alternatives are accurately seen and understood. So the contrast to special love is holy love. The contrast to striving and trying is that resting in God and seeing, tasting and seeing, proving that things are given you when you trust in the God to provide, that all your needs are already known and met. So but truly in the holy relationship, you get to experience your innocence, your guiltlessness. You get to get the felt state of the contrast, the tasting of heaven, so that this is no longer even a choice. Wow, this is real. The joining, God, authentic relating, that's real. And now you look back at what you used to do and it's untenable. You recognize they cannot be concealed because their nothingness is recognized. And so you just let it go. That's how this choice occurs when we've sampled the truth. Okay.
It's an organic process.
It is.
Isn't it?
Yes. Yep.
Thank you,
I'm
sis.
so grateful for our family and for all of you.
Yeah. Me too.
The conscious choice of heaven is as sure as is the ending of the fear of hell, when it is raised from its protecting shroud of unawareness and is brought to light. Who can decide between the clearly seen and the unrecognized? Yet, who can fail to make a choice between alternatives when only one is seen as valuable, the other as a wholly worthless thing, a but imagined source of guilt and pain? Who hesitates to make a choice like this? And shall we hesitate to choose today? We make the choice for heaven as we wake, and spend 5 minutes making sure that we have made the one decision that is sane. We recognize we make a conscious choice between what has existence in what has nothing but an appearance of the truth. Its pseudo being, brought to what is real, is flimsy and transparent in the light. It holds no terror now for what was made enormous, vengeful, pitiless with hate, demands obscurity for fear to be invested there. Now it is recognized as but a foolish, trivial mistake. Before we close our eyes and sleep tonight, we reaffirm the choice that we have made each hour in between. And now we give the last 5 minutes of our waking day to the decision with which we awoke. As every hour passed by, we declared our choice again in a brief, quiet time devoted to maintaining sanity. And finally, we close the day with this, acknowledging we chose but what we want. Heaven is the decision I must make. I make it now and will not change my mind because it is the only thing I want. Heaven is the decision I must make. Lesson 138.
Beautiful lesson. Yeah. Mind you, I didn't understand this for a good 10, 15 years of studying the course. So not until later on it came in. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, sis.
Thank you. It's a decision.
And you will make it, inevitably, as you bring the illusions to the light and see them for what they are. A whole lot of nothings trying to be somethings.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.